I'm not sure that there's a better way to finish cattle on grass quicker than with sorghum Sudangrass and even the hybrid pearl millets. They do really well, they help the rumen, and they are cheap and easy to grow. Equally as importantly, they supercharge the soil dramatically. I've planted sorghum Sudangrass for 4 years now, and this is the first time I've ever had a problem with it. The problem with sorghum Sudangrass is that it can have high levels of prussic acid. So prussic acid poisoning is an issue with sorghum Sudangrass. It normally happens when the sorghum Sudangrass is less than 12 or 18 inches tall. It can also happen during times of frost and during times of drought. To combat these problems, you have to manage sorghum Sudangrass pretty well. This is the first year that we have not been able to manage it with our cattle like I intended. And what you see behind me now is all this. This is not sorghum Sudangrass, but what you see is this sorghum Sudangrass that is gone to seed, and it has not performed very well. The problem that I ran into, we had an early 5 weeks of really dry weather, and I was a little concerned about whether the prussic acid levels would be high in this cover crop. So I decided to wait before I grazed it. And so I have not even grazed it yet. Then we got several inches of rain over the course of several weeks, and it started regrowing again. And it started sending up these seed stalks before I could get the cattle over here to it. At that point, the sorghum Sudangrass loses most of its nutritional value. So I've just kind of left it alone. I should have bush hogged it when I thought that there were levels of prussic acid in the sorghum Sudangrass, but I did not because I thought that I would get some rain and I could graze it. But things did not work out the way I thought. So now, a forage cover crop that has the potential to do really, really well has not performed as well as I would like in these conditions. Now I'm going to show some videos of how good sorghum Sudangrass really is.
This picture shows the line where we've grown sorghum Sudangrass for 4 years versus 2 years. The crop on the left was planted 5.5 weeks after the crop on the right, and it was planted when we had not had rain for 4.5 weeks and it started sprouting. The soil in that part is just so much better because of the sorghum Sudangrass. Now when we grow sorghum Sudangrass, we tend to graze it several times. This is the regrowth after the first grazing, and it has performed really well. And this is the regrowth after we grazed it a third time, and it did not grow back quite as thick as we would have liked. But sorghum Sudangrass also is a great species to host beneficial insects. We constantly see lady beetles like this on our cover crop of sorghum Sudangrass mixes.
So when I planted this cover crop, the dominant species was sorghum Sudangrass, but it also had a few pounds of hybrid pearl millet, a forage brassica, cowpeas, and soybeans. Typically after the first grazing, the cows will come through and graze everything, and the stuff that regrows the most is normally just the grasses. But when I did not graze it, the cowpeas and the soybeans had a better chance to grow more, and they've actually grown more than they typically do. And they've just used the sorghum Sudangrass as a trellis. There's a good bit of protein in this cover crop, but there's not a whole lot of grasses and stuff to help the rumen of the cows. So what I'm going to do to fix this problem is, rather than turning cows into this sorghum Sudangrass, I'm actually going to fence it off for pigs. Those sows will do well. They'll eat the sorghum Sudangrass just for the sugars in the dry stalks of the sorghum Sudangrass. They'll also do really, really well on the protein from the legumes, and if there's any other brassica or buckwheat left, I doubt there is, but if there's any of the buckwheat and the brassica left, they'll get some nutrition off of that as well. So that's how I'm salvaging this cover crop, is by putting pigs and letting them terminate the cover crop. Now, I'm using my sows and my boar in here, so these are my breeding pigs. They don't need a whole lot of nutrition right now. I've just weaned pigs off of them. They need to regain some weight, so I'll supplement their feed a good bit. I'll still give them several pounds of feed per pig per day. But the beauty of this forage cover crop is that it has a high volume. It still has some good nutrition in it, but there's a lot of cellulose, a lot of lignin to help the sows fill their bellies so that they're not hungry all the time.
So now all I've got to do is mow underneath this fence line. I'm trying to keep the fence from shorting out, and I want to make sure that the pigs can actually see the electric fence when they get in here. Just a little point of reference, it's usually a great idea to make sure that the fence is not on. This fence happens to be on, and it gets tangled up in the tires, and watch right here. Yeah, it looks fake, but it was 8,000 volts running through my arms. So now I'm going to jump forward to where I bring the pigs into the pen. Sometimes things don't always go as well as I would like when I'm moving pigs into the pen. Here it took me about 5 or 6 more minutes to get the boar across the electric fence, but they came on across. And then I noticed that just a couple minutes later, all the pigs were not there. And I looked behind me, just behind where the camera is located, and this video is what I saw. The boar and 2 sows, you only see 1 sow, number 5 here. I thought that they were eating the soybeans. As it turns out, they're eating morning glory. Now, morning glory gets along our fences, and it is a pain in the neck to deal with because it can short out permanent electric fences pretty easily. But this sow and that boar were actually eating on the morning glory vines. I have no idea why, but it was an interesting thing to observe. Now, this is how I'm going to salvage this forage cover crop. Hopefully in a week or 2, I'll do a follow-up video and just show you what the pigs have consumed and what they have knocked down. We'll see how that goes. If you're interested in more videos, it would help me out a lot if you would click that thumbs up or that like button, subscribe, leave a comment asking questions. Let me know what you like about the video, if you liked anything, and we will talk to you again soon at Dowdle Family Farms.